this text to upload. Hopefully it won't take too long. There it is. So the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 5 of the PS4 Tier 1 Pacific Series. It's time for the Singapore Grand Prix at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. This is a 5.1 kilometer, 23 turn circuit. Now it's not particularly long in terms of length, it's nowhere near the longest track on the calendar, but it is the longest race in terms of time. This is effectively our endurance race for the championship. Incredibly long in almost any conditions. It gets seriously long when it goes to wet conditions, as I found out but a few minutes ago. But from what I can see, even though it's completely pitch black, I think it looks dry for qualifying. We'll have to see what it's like for the race itself. I'm sure somebody will give me a weather report in the comments section. I'll have a quick squiz at that right now. But yes, a 23 turn racetrack, a lot of corners, wet to dry race. Oh god damn it. A long one. Here we go. But yes, a 23 turn racetrack, a lot of corners that the drivers have to combat. This actually has the most amount of turns on the racetrack on the calendar. It's either this or Vietnam, though we don't go to Vietnam in this championship, unfortunately. And I must say, for Vietnam in real life, it might be more or less game over for it. I don't think we'll be seeing the Vietnamese Grand Prix anytime soon. But it's a very tricky racetrack, technically demanding simply due to the amount of corners you have to tackle. A long endurance race that will test the driver's stamina and concentration. And we'll see what these gentlemen can do. Now, Isaac Kush will be the first driver to try and set a flying lap. He's making his way around turns 20 and 21 into the final corners on the racetrack. 22 and 23, it is important that you get a good exit out of here, which he does. DRS open, climbing through the gears into 8th gear, hard on the brakes, 4th, missing the apex slightly and invalidates at turn 2. Incredibly easy to do that, I must say. We'll hop on board with wide tunes. He's coming through turn 3, yet to invalidate. Up and over the crest into turn number 5. I missed turn 4, the little left-hand kink after the hairpin. Yes, that's a turn, according to the official track map. Round turn 6, and into turn 7. One of the few overtaking spots on the racetrack. Into turn 8, second gear. Flies it through quite nicely there. Now into turn 9. Doesn't quite hit the apex perfectly. A bit of wheel spin on the exit, but it is only his first lap. Into the infamous Singapore Sling. This part used to be incredibly notorious in its original layout, with quite an awkward, short chicane that would send cars flying into the tyre barrier due to the quite tall curves. Out zone on this lap into 14, a potential overtaking spot. Then into the slight left-hand kink of 15. Then into the barrage of 90-degree corners, that is 16, 17, 18, underneath the grandstand, then into turn 19, then turns 20 and 21, all 90-degree flowing, destroying corners. It's great. Then into the final 2 turns on the racetrack, 22 and 23, crossing the line to set a 35.1. That is the benchmark. Now, see what everyone else is up to. Swaggy hasn't validated. Sorel JB hasn't. He's coming to the end of his lap. Leo does a 33.8. Sorel JB does a 33.1 as well. Old mate Kurt does a 34.4, jumps to second place. Spicy jumping up to P3 with a 34.7. What's 40 up to? He's invalidated. Same with Polish Gorilla. Spilly yet to invalidate. We're right on board with him. Heading through the Anderson Bridge around turn 13, a critical traction zone here. It's important that you get a good exit, maximize the top speed heading towards 14. And he's purple apparently to the second sector. We'll see what his time is at the end of the lap. Through 15 into 16, then 17. You have to abuse the track limits on the inside, which he does, and he bashes himself against the wall there at the exit. I'm not sure if he got any damage. He does. He's got front wing damage. He's missing an M plate on the right hand side. He'll be coming into the pits, I'm sure. No, he's going to try and finish the lap actually. And the final two turns. Does a 35 flat, which is a pretty respectable time considering the circumstances. Mr. Mount jumps to second place. Only one of two drivers in the 33s at the moment, but I'm sure that's going to change shortly. Polish Gorilla on another flying lap. And through turns 1, 2 and 3, a very high speed technical complex right at the beginning of the lap. Turn 2 will be a bit of a hot spot for warnings in both qualifying and in the race. Incredibly easy to run wide at turn 1 and gather yourself a warning. Gorilla's going to get a bit of a tow here from his teammate Cloudsy. Oh, that could have been quite nasty there. There was a car slowing down. I think that was Mr. Mount as his teammate, Old Mate Curtis, in the pits. That could have been really nasty if Cloudsy wasn't paying attention to what he was doing there. Now heading towards the Singapore Sling. Polish Gorilla throws it through there. Hits his marks. Maybe missed the apex there. I don't think he clobbered the curve too much. You really need to cut as much as you can around the lap here at Singapore. It's a bit like Sochi, where you have all this run up on the inside. As Swaggy does a 33-1. You're joking. Oh my giddy aunt, that is fast. Polish Gorilla making his way around the third sector. As I was saying, you need to cut everything. And you can see here Gorilla staying well within the white lines. And even there, missing the apex a little bit, coming underneath the grandstand. Cuts too much there. Oh, save it. Very nice driving there to save it. Not very good driving to put the car there in the first place, but a good save nonetheless. But he'll park it in the pits. Give himself time to set another lap. Isaac Kush has invalidated again. Plevs on a flyer, heading around 13. Now heading towards turn number 14, hard on the brakes. Does a 2-1 in the second sector. Now through 17, 18. Sorry, no, that was 16 and 17, then 18 and 19. That's right. Then 20 and 21. Really hitting his marks, cutting the corners nicely, using all of the track limit on the right-hand side. Around the double left-handers of the final two corners, crosses the line, does a 33.7. Incredibly respectable lap time. He is currently second overall. A few drivers on out laps. Izzat's pushing on with a flying lap, but I'm sure he's going to come into the pits. Let's see, what's Mofo up to? On an in-lap, perhaps? Low on fuel, so I reckon he's on an in-lap. So who'll be the first driver on a flying lap then? Looks like it's going to be one of the AlphaTauris. It must be GeForce Ford. There is a Ferrari in front of him, I just noticed. But we'll stick with 40 for now, as he's yet to set a lap time. Y-Tunes must be the car in front. There's only Ford makes his way around the final corner, begins a flying lap. See, they're really opening the... Oh, he cut too much there at turn 1. It's cost him. That's what the track demands, though. You have to do that sort of stuff. Mr. Mount pulls off to the side, unfortunately, for 40. Doesn't matter too much to him. He has to come back in, probably. Kevin Texas on the flyer. You see here, open up the corner. He didn't open it up anywhere near as much as Ford. The curving still opening up the corner. He has the same sort of principle. Through turn 5. It's a good exit. On the DRS straight, heading towards turn 6 then. into the heavy braking zone of turn 7. Down into 3rd gear at the apex. Now into turn 8. Oh, understeers, misses the apex ever so slightly there. That'll cost him a little bit of time, but he won't be too worried. Oh, that was close to the wall. Now heading towards the Singapore Sling. Yeah, everyone's on the soft tyre. I guess once you reach this top split, you wouldn't want to try and qualify on the medium tyre because you'd lose just that much time compared to everyone else. And track position is pretty important around here. But yes, quite right, Ace. No one's put on the medium tyre to set any laps. They're all on the softs. Oh, that's right, it was a wet weather start, that's why. Wet weather start, I forgot about that bit. Oh wait, is it dry to wet or wet to dry? Hang on. I'll just take a quick squeeze at Roscoe Arms' comment again. Wet to dry, so yeah, that's why everyone's on the softs. As Crichton does a 32.9. Okay then. How can you go that quickly, you bunch of aliens? My word. That is ridiculously fast. I think my best time was in qualifying was a 34.7, I think. That was a dry session. How can you go that quickly? Well, let's find out, shall we? With 6 and a bit minutes left in the session. We'll ride on board with G4 Swaggy as he heads round the final 2 corners. DRS opens 7th gear. Pay attention to the car position. Opens up the corner through turn 1 into turn 2. 3rd gear through turn 3. Interesting. Through 4. Now heading into turn 5. Opens up the corner. Takes a very nice apex through there. Now heading through turn number 6. Then turn 7. Hard on the brakes just before the 50. 4th gear really throws it in there. Uses every inch of track. 3rd gear through turn 8. Then through turn 9. Keeps it in 4th. Runs it out as wide as he dares. Now heading into the Singapore Sling. What does he do here? 7th down to 4th. Cuts the first part. Then into the chicane just before the Anderson Bridge. Keeps it in 4th. 5th gear. Short shifts to 5th. Now into the hairpin. He'll go down to 2nd. Nails the apex. As soon as he hit the apex, instantly into 3rd. Now down this small straightaway. Heading towards turn 14. Hard on the brakes. He is up by 2/10. And we still have a sector to go. Now into turn number 15, then 16, then turn number 17, really cutting the corner there. Now underneath the spectator grandstand at 18 through 19, then 20 and 21, really cutting the racetrack. Not so much at 20 there, sideways on the exit, a little bit sideways, through the final 2 corners, 22 and 23. What's the time look like? It's a 32.8. He retakes pole position. He didn't improve too much in the final sector, but it was enough to take pole away from Crichton for now. We still have 4.5 minutes left in the session, as you can see, so still plenty of qualifying left to run. These guys will have at least one more lap up their sleeve. Mr. Mount, he is massively down to the 2nd sector, so he'll be bound to be coming into the pits this lap, I imagine. Wogboy hasn't validated. Go down here, see what's going on. Polish Gorilla, yet to set a lap time, but it looks like he's going to set one now. Or a bit sideways at the exit of 21 through the final 2 corners. 33, 34, 5. It's not a bad lap time considering the circumstances, the pressure of setting a lap. He's only just outside the top 10. Is that Kush invalidating again? The AlphaTauri driver not enjoying Singapore, and it seems. He's not enjoying it at all. Invalidating several times over the course of the session. Swaggy on an in lap. Trying to get a hurry on, it seems. Just want to ride on board. Yeah, you can see here he's cutting everything. Now, the stewards would interpret that And he's trying to get back in, try and get a new set of tyres on, then get back out and set a final lap right at the death of the session. You can see they're really cutting every corner left and right there. He's trying to get himself back into the pits. Now, I do believe Plebs will be the first of the drivers to try and set their final flying laps. Plebs currently P6 overall. Let's see what Plebs can do. Through the bus stop, final sector, a bit of a revving glitch there, which is unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Oh god, that's horrible to listen to. 2 corners with just under 2 minutes left. That is horrible. Codemaster, switch cameras, come on. There we go. Round turn 3. Now into turn number 5. See what his sector 1 says as he comes through turn 6 and into the braking zone of 7. He's up by a 10th to the first sector. Currently he's doing quite well. No one else on a flyer. Everyone's on an out lap. Everyone's trying to pace themselves out, find a little bit of space. See Plebs really pushing the limits here. I would love to ride on board with him, but that revving glitch would just be too irritating to listen to. First gear, interesting. First gear through the hairpin. Now heading towards the end of the second sector, he's up by a 10th and a half. If he maintains that, he might snag just only 1 position actually. That's 3 tenths separating Leo and Plebs. So Plebs needs a magical final sector if he wants to crack himself into the top 4. There's a Mercedes-Benz in front. It's Crichton. He gets out of the way. He'll be one of the drivers we'll be keeping a keen eye on right here at the end of this qualifying session at Singapore. But Plebs, what does he do? He does, oh wow, he found a lot of time in the final sector. Jumps up to 4th place. Now we'll go to Crichton, currently 2nd with a 32.9. Right on board with him through turn 3. Then through turn 4. Now through 5, 7th gear, down to 4th gear at the apex. 5th gear, 6th gear, DRS open, 7th. There's a car in front, that's Plebs, getting out of the way. Now into turn 7, he's up by 18 thousandths of a second. Swaggy, his qualifying session is done, so he cannot improve his time. So Crichton knows the benchmark and he is pushing hard. Now into the Singapore Sling. Throws it in there. 4th gear down to 3rd for the chicane. Now over the Anderson Bridge into the hairpin of 13. DRS open, 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear. 40 jumps to pole position with a 32.7. But Crichton is up by 0.2 of a second as he heads through turn 14. Heading through 15, then into 16 and 17, 3rd gear. Gently on the throttle. Then he applies full throttle once the car is perfectly straight. Underneath the spectator grandstand, you can hear him cheering above. Oh, right up, right against the wall there. Oh, and he invalidates! A costly invalidation! Oh, and such a fundamental error. He cut the corner too much there. Only a little bit too much, and in his frustration, damages the car. His qualifying session is done. Mr. Mount, he is invalidated as well. What boy, what can he do when he crosses the line? He goes 4th fastest with a 39.4 as there's a colossal crash on the pit straight. A lot of drivers not happy with that. See what Mofo can do. No, he has invalidated as well, so his session is done. But what about that? I did not see Fordy doing that. He takes pole. Crichton, he had it in the bag. And such a simple mistake, he'd be kicking himself because of that. But that's quali over. Oh boy. What a fine qualifying session that was. There we go. Whew. Now, the results from qualifying. It is G-Force Ford on pole position with a 1 minute 32.691. He's just under 2/10 clear of G-Force Swaggy, who did not set a lap time at the end of the session. He'll be starting on the front row. Crichton, what could have been for him, he's starting P3 with Wogboy alongside Mr. Mount at P5, Plebs in P6, Leo in 7th, is at cushion 8th, Cloudsy in 9th, and OP Magic rounds out the top 10. Top 10 separated by 1.2 seconds. It's quite a big margin indeed. We'll go through the other drivers when we line up on the grid, though we don't have to discuss too much in regards to strategy. It's a wet weather start. What will become interesting is when it goes to dry conditions. Will it be at a stage where you can go onto the medium tyre or the hard tyre or the soft tyre? We'll have to wait and see. I have absolutely no idea. We'll just see what it's like. And it is raining. I think intermediate conditions? It doesn't look heavy enough for it to be wet weather, like a full wet conditions. But I think it is intermediate. And you can see the intermediate tyre in Crichton's garage. If you can see that in the bottom left, I believe that means he has the intermediate tyre fitted onto his car. I think. I might be proven wrong when we load up onto the grid. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, everyone will be fine-tuning their setups, fiddling around with the front wing, I imagine, deciding how much fuel to have in the car. Now, considering how technical this racetrack is, I wouldn't imagine that too many drivers will be using rich mix too often around the racetrack. So I wouldn't be surprised if a number of drivers under-fueled their cars for the start of the race. We'll just have to wait and see, though. But here we go. We'll load up onto the grid. Hopefully. Cross our fingers. Cross our fingers. Still loading in. Uh-oh. What's happened here? Uh-oh. You have got to be joking. Do we really have a glitch lobby? Surely not. Hang on a minute, I'll just do a quick check of something. Okay, just making sure. Sometimes by returning to the PS4 main menu can fix things a little bit, but I don't think it's on my end. Well, poo. That puts a halt to proceedings. See what the Discord are talking about right now. Just take a quick squiz. That is seriously unfortunate. Ah, bummer. That is a massive bummer. Righto. Just wanted to double check. Oh, don't crash the game. Don't crash the game. Don't crash the game. Please. Alrighty. Well, tell you what. Seeing as Plebs is left, we'll leave the main menu as well. We'll just wait for an invite from Plebs for the new lobby. Well, poo. Thanks, Cody's. Love your work. Top notch. Yeah, if you're taking this, take notes. Absolutely, KD. I couldn't agree more. I hope and pray that with Electronic Arts buying Codemasters, that they will have the funding to make a stable game. At the very least, we have had this problem 2 games in a row now, where the lobby just collapses. It goes and has a meltdown. 2 games in a row. My word. Probably just chill out in here for now. We'll go and gander it. The AlphaTauri as it's on pole position. But that's a bit irritating to say the least. What's the date today, by the way? 2nd of March. That means we have the Aston Martin livery showcase tomorrow, don't we? For the 2021 Formula 1 season. That should be very interesting to see what that looks like, considering that Aston Martin made the announcement that they retained the BWT sponsorship. Now, I wonder how that's going to be incorporated onto a green car. It'll be very interesting. We'll join now. But yeah, that should be very interesting indeed to see how that looks, that Aston Martin livery, whether it will incorporate any pink whatsoever. Tell you what, I'm also pretty keen for this 2021 season as well. New teams, new drivers, a fair few swap arounds and whatnot. It should be a fairly interesting season. Well, I hope and pray that it's going to be an interesting season. And also, where are McLaren going to be with the new Mercedes engine? Is it going to be faster? Is it going to be more competitive, challenging the likes of Red Bull and Mercedes? Probably not, but one would hope. I would love to see that. The resurgence of McLaren, second most successful team in Formula 1 history. Only behind the prancing horse. It'd be awesome to see. Speaking of the Scuderia, what are they going to be like? They said they made upgrades in the pre-season. But does that mean they magically teleport themselves to the front of the grid? I doubt that. I doubt that a lot. But no, 2021 should be very, very interesting indeed from a real-life perspective, with the new teams, new drivers, and also with EA purchasing Codemasters. What's F1 2021 going to look like? I hope it looks a damn sight better than this. I pray. But we've got 19 drivers here. I think everyone's joined. We'll just let plebs sort out the grid for the race ahead. Still, we need 3 drivers to select their cars. Otherwise, there's going to be a few issues with them. Watermelon car. Ooh. I like that idea. Because, yeah, I don't think with the Aston Martin livery they could... Pink and green don't go together. I think everyone watching here can agree with that. Pink and green. If you put them side by side, particularly British racing green, if you put them side by side, it's just yuck. Just no. It doesn't look right. So I think, yeah, just keep the car green and have the blue BWT decal somewhere on the car. I think that could work pretty well. But they won't be the primary sponsor. They'll be Cognizant. They will be the primary sponsor. So So BWT would only be a small secondary sponsor like JCB, Ravenol, all those sort of companies that are also on the car. And also the driver combos, Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll. Who would have thought the two drivers that came together at the Ascari chicane in, what year was that? That was 2018 that happened, wasn't it? Because Pierre was in the Toro Rosso when he met up with the accident. Was it 2018 or 2019? No, it must. Oh, no, 2019. Oh god. Oh, what was it? No, it must have been 2019 because Lance was in a freaking Racing Point. So 2018 he was in the Williams. I am dum-dum. Anyway. But who would have thought those two coming together at Ascari, having that altercation, and also Malaysia 2017. Them two coming together on the final lap. They're now freaking teammates. It'll be an interesting dynamic to watch. Vettel and Stroll. Don't know. There'll be another team to look out for. Can they continue their spectacular form from 2020? We'll see how much they copy the 2020 Mercedes, I suppose. Just have to wait and see. But we've got all the drivers in the cars now. We should be getting underway fairly shortly, I imagine. And we've got to strap ourselves in for the long one, so if anyone's watching, it's probably best to take the toilet break now, because it's gonna be a long race. Grab some popcorn and a drink as well. Wouldn't want to go hungry. But everyone's readying up. No, not quite, only 6 of them have. My phone just buzzed, so I reckon, there we go, there's the notification. People readying up. Should be good to go for this race here at Singapore. This is going to be a long night, isn't it? Oh, 50 minutes till Merck reveals the W12, so we'll be able to get a look at that probably at the end of the stream. That'll be... Though I have a pretty good idea of what that's going to look like. They've gone with the same design almost every year. Only this year they painted it all black because of the Black Lives Matter movement that Hamilton very much supports. They've sort of maintained that, but I've noticed it's sort of a black front and a sort of silver rear. A bit like an inverse of the 2019 car, I think. Where it had the silver pretty much for 2/3 of the car and a black sort of fin and wing. So no, it's a very interesting design, and hopefully it will look nice when you put all the sponsors on it. And also, when's the Alpine one? That should be today as well, shouldn't it? See if we can't find it after the race. But we're loading onto the grid. Now, conditions are going to be slightly different to what they were in the previous race. The wet weather will change at a different time. It might be earlier, it might be later. Intermediate conditions, the rain is a little lighter, which suggests to me that they'll go to dry conditions earlier, I would think, unless this gets heavier, which is entirely possible. But as you can see, again, in the bottom left, Crichton, in his garage, there are intermediate tyres. So yeah, very much intermediate conditions. So, oh, and hopefully all the drivers put on a setup. You wouldn't want to race around here on default. You really wouldn't want to race around here on default. Ooh. 6 wings, that'll be a lot of fun around here. Ooh. In the wet as well, that'll be a lot of fun. But here we go. Everyone choosing this setup. We should be loading onto the grid very shortly. Hopefully. Oh, what is going on here? Oh, what is going on here? You cannot be serious right now. Oh, here we go, here we go. Here we go. It's just Crichton and Polish Gorilla. Please, Codemasters, please! Yes, we're loading onto the grid! Unbelievable! Now hopefully those two have backup invites, they should be out. Formation lap, folks. Get excited, we're on a bloody formation lap. So, pretty obvious, everyone is on the intermediate tyre. It's pretty clear to see. Drivers outside the top 10, we didn't get to go through them earlier. We'll go through them now. Y-Tune starting from P11 with Curving Texas alongside Spicy in 13th place, Olmec Kurt 14th, One Slick Mofo in 15th place, Spilly in 16th, Polish Gorilla in 18th place. Hopefully he'll be able to join very shortly. Fortunately, it's quite a long formation lap, so Sorrel JB in 18th place and Roscoe Arm at the back of the field in 19th with all the work to do. Now in these conditions, it might be a nice thing to start towards the rear, try and avoid trouble early on. Get the telemetry. Ah, Ben 40 spun it on the formation lap. Several drivers disqualified from the session there. Both of the racing points. Oh, he needs to flick spin it round. Now do it. Now I don't think you will get damage on the formation lap. Oh. Well, there we go. You'll teleport it back to the grid. And for anyone, including myself, who has never seen a sort of T-cam of what it's like sitting on pole position, well, here you go. I've never ever started on pole here at Singapore. Never, ever, 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 ever. Somehow I've managed to get second place in qualifying and in the race in Tier 3. That was absolutely horrible though. It was full wet conditions. And if you wanted to know what that was like, driving full wet conditions around here, if you're a bit of a historian, go back to the 2009 Malaysian Grand Prix and how wet that was. That was exactly what it was like. You could not see 2 feet in front of you. It was unbelievably terrifying. But for these guys, they don't have to worry about such things. So this is it. After an incredibly long wait, we can finally get this mammoth long race underway. Swaggy will line up into his grid slot. We'll be waiting on the Haas of One Slick Mofo. Oh no, there's a few cars behind. It's Leo, sorry. How did Leo get all the way back there? I missed something on the formation lap. So, here we go. Everyone's lined up. Everyone's ready to go. The game will save. Hopefully. Game will save. Waiting on... who is it? Everyone's got their overtake switched on except for Polish Gorilla. And GeForce Pricing. Oh no. Another delayed start. Please. Codemasters, Stop shitting yourself for 5 minutes. Please. Please. Everyone just sitting on the grid very patiently. I'm sure they won't be sitting patiently in their rooms, watching the screens. Oh my word. Oh no. Oh, the game crashed. Are you joking?